Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's Let's Talk Autism with Autism and Us. I hope everybody is doing well. For those of you who don't know me, I am Nita. I am one of the admins of this wonderful establishment that we call Autism and Us. And what this is all about is just another way for us to get together in a safe space, safe place to talk about our journeys with our loved ones on the spectrum. And of course, we break the monotony every once in a while and have a laugh or two. So come on in. If you are on the outside looking in, come on in and join us. We don't bite. I put the link in for Mr. Charles, and I believe Linda will be here. So hopefully she'll chime in shortly. Hello, Teresa. How are you? And there's Spencer. How are you, Spencer? Spencer says, pray for Victor Perez family. That has me in tears. All I could do is think about Joshua. And I said that's the young man that was pew-pewed. Definitely prayers go out to his family. Very sad, disappointing situation, heartbreaking. Glad you are doing good, Teresa. So I am on Facebook. I got Instagram up and on TikTok. So if you are on TikTok, hello there. Also, if you are in either of the groups, I've shared it in the groups. Make sure you click on the video that will bring you to the live chat, because if you are in the group and you make a comment, I may not see it. Matter of fact, I need to open these pages. How are you doing, Mr. Charles?
Oh, I'm doing fine.
Good, good,
Yes, Cindy's doing good too. How about
good.
you?
Doing good, doing good. Let me check.
Hi,
Let me see.
Teresa.
Make sure. Who is that? DeAndre. DeAndre is up and down the stairs. Of course, he has his energy.
Sounds like Sammy.
Yeah, that's Sammy in the background, of course. Yeah. Okay, and DeAndre. Spencer says yes, he's the one that was harmed. He passed away yesterday after being pulled off life support. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very heartbreaking situation. Very heartbreaking.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, there was a chain link fence between him and those police officers. He may have
Yes.
had a knife, but there was a chain link fence there. They think he was going to jump that fence. I mean, he
But they
wasn't
didn't
trying
they
to
didn't
jump it.
waste any time. It was just too quick.
Yeah, it was just
They didn't even
executed him.
assess the situation.
They executed him firing squad style.
Very heartbreaking. Very heartbreaking. And that is one of the things that scares me. And we were talking about that the other day. There are a lot of the police stations do have the training for mental health and autism, but not enough. Not enough. I think that anyone that has to deal with the public, that should be mandatory part of their training before they even hit the streets. Dealing with the mental health and those with autism, dealing with that community, I believe that should be a standard part of their training, especially in the police force. But then you do have those that are trigger happy.
Yeah, even the lack of such training doesn't excuse what they did, because
Not at all. No excuse.
Again, it'd be another thing if he were trying to jump the fence and they shot him. That'd be a whole different story. But he wasn't. he was on his side of the fence, they were on their side, and it takes a little effort to jump a fence. So even if he's capable of it, he wasn't doing it.
Yep. And Spencer says he also has cerebral palsy, so he couldn't even hardly walk. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But even if he didn't have cerebral palsy, even if he were capable of jumping the fence, he wasn't jumping the fence.
Right. Right. Exactly. Again, it's a very unfortunate, heartbreaking, makes you angry type of situation, and something needs to be done. We had a young man here in Detroit on the spectrum. The Uber driver dropped him off at the wrong address. So he was standing in the neighborhood, and from what I'm reading in the article, his mother, I believe, asked him to take a picture of where he was at so she could help him get home. And he was taking pictures, and I guess someone in the neighborhood took it the wrong way, and they started an altercation with him and shot him.
Yeah, it may have been someone who was involved in illegal activity of some
It
sort.
doesn't matter.
It doesn't
Yeah,
excuse what they
he
did.
should have right. He should have came out and before even assuming whether it be that related or what. Oh, there's Linda. Hey, Linda, should have came out and asked first. Can I help you? So they're talking about we're done with awareness, with autism awareness. No, autism awareness it's an ongoing thing.
Yeah. The thing is, when you're dealing with people who, and this is why I suspect there's someone involved in illegal activity. People involved in illegal activity often, first thing they see, someone taking pictures, paranoia sets in right away, comes in, and then the second thing about them is that many of them place very low value on human life,
Yeah.
and so it's a whole different story when someone, and I don't know who it was that shot him, but I suspect it was someone involved in illegal activity of some sort. And you
Well,
expect, you
there's
expect,
been people, who haven't. They
yeah,
just see a person like the guy that was sitting on the corner. Just all of a sudden, somebody sees him and he's having a meltdown or whatever, and he gets shot. Just it doesn't matter what the reasoning is. These people need to
yeah,
understand, what's going on,
yeah, uh,
around us. And we need,
yeah,
that's why we have to keep autism in our mouths. That's why awareness is so important.
yeah. And I'm sure whoever did it knows now what he did, knows that
Oh
he
yeah.
that he killed
And
a disabled
I
boy.
hope they catch them. Because as of now, I haven't heard anything about, them catching the guy. But hopefully he gets caught really soon. Hey Linda, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. Hey, Nita. Hey, Charles. Hey, everyone.
Pammy, I see
Hey,
you. How
Linda.
are you, Pam?
Hi, Pam.
Hey Candy.
Hi, Candy.
Yeah. Yep. What's your thoughts on what's been going on, Linda? The guy that got shot with the police, and I was just talking about the guy here that got shot because he was in a wrong neighborhood. Um, too
This
much
just
going
happened in
on.
Detroit,
Yep.
and was he autistic? You said or no?
Yep. He was autistic. He went for a job interview,
Um,
and the Uber driver dropped him off at the wrong location,
uh,
and someone took it wrong, came out the house, and
Yeah, what
shot,
happened was he
shot him.
called his mother, and his mother told him take a picture, take
Mm.
a picture of the area so I know
And
where
they
you're at.
seen, yeah, and they
And
seen him
somebody
take the
saw
picture.
him taking a picture and took that the wrong way.
oh, I see.
And,
Um,
and I voiced my suspicion it may have been someone involved in illegal
Well,
activity.
let's not keep saying
But
that on
well,
the
no,
line.
I was visiting Detroit, a little bit back, and I was staying at my aunt's house. It was me and my daughter. We were
Mm,
staying at my aunt's house, but we drove over to this house that she still owns, but she rents out. But it was my dad's childhood house. So I
mm,
pull up and then I took a few pictures, but from the car, I believe I was still sitting in the car. But they seen and they kind of like slowly shut the door or whatever. And then I thought to myself, oh man, I wonder, that looked bad.
they're
But I
thinking,
pull
yeah.
up and I'm taking a picture. And I felt bad because if someone did that to me too, I would be uncomfortable. But
Mm,
because and I heard about these people. These people are really nice. Like my aunts run it to them for a long time. So I heard about them before, but they were even uncomfortable with somebody taking a picture of their house, even though I strongly, strongly suspect that they weren't up to something illegal.
mm.
But it's just it could be because you don't know what other people are
Where
thinking.
their heads at.
Yeah, so the person, taking the picture, you have no idea, so that can be scary. And,
Mm,
people can mistake fear for, that kind of fear maybe for aggression, but I
yeah.
guess, you'd really have to know. But yeah, I could see that that was a hazardous situation for
So when
him.
somebody reacts to that by shooting you, you
And
know,
watch that work. I'm just saying, be careful on these lives because
Yeah.
Facebook, TikTok. So if you saying the shoot word, say pew pew or something like
Yeah.
that,
Pop out.
try to be careful
Yeah.
with your wording.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
exactly.
saying,
Yeah.
Mr.
okay, yeah,
Mhm.
Charles.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I think yeah, I think it was just a bad situation for him, and it was probably bad on both sides. It was just wrong place, wrong time,
Wrong
right?
time, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really sad. And it scares me. Spencer says we have a young man with autism who everyone in town knows him, even the police. His name is Drew. He's harmless. Everyone waves at him and will give him a ride.
that's good.
Hmm. That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
That's
Hmm.
good.
Yep. See, that's what it takes is for the community to come together. And if you know someone, I know we all probably seen someone in the streets or standing on a corner that we're familiar with.
Hmm.
You know, I can even remember there was a guy that used to stand on one of the corners here when you come off the freeway, and it was his spot, right? And
Hmm.
then all of a sudden, you see these three teenagers or young adults, and every time a car would come up, they run up to the car blocking him. I was so mad. I
Oh.
was like, no, this is,
Yeah.
his spot. You kind of, even though you don't know him, you kind of built that kind of, I don't know, some kind of relationship with him.
Hmm.
And so, I rolled down my window, and as soon as the girl came up to my car, I was like, no, I'm pointing at him, like,
Yeah.
here, give him some change. Because, no, how you going to come trying? They must have seen he was uh, making a little change and they wanted to invade his spot. But
Yeah.
no,
Hmm.
she knew he was homeless.
Yeah.
And he stayed in the little motel that was behind there. But yeah,
Yeah.
you developed them kind of compassionate
Hmm.
relationships with them.
Because you become familiar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think also it seemed like a thing, even though she's the one who told him to take the picture, it seemed
Mhm.
like there was some lacking on safety skills as far as because that should have been a thing, don't let people see you pointing your phone at them, don't take pictures of people, there's some things that you may not that he should have known not to do, even though she brought this one up. But if there would have been more safety awareness, maybe that could have helped. Maybe she wasn't
Yeah.
even thinking about it, that wasn't a great idea.
Yeah,
Well,
especially we have to worry about sending, we want our kids to have independence.
Mhm.
We want that.
Yeah.
And if they're able to, they should be allowed to have that independence. But yeah, you're right. We have to be on them.
Yeah.
Safety
Yeah.
training.
Yeah.
We have to do what it takes to keep our babies
Yeah.
Say, what were you going to say, Mr. Charles?
Yeah, let's say too, the mother's side, in defense of the mother on that, I have to say, she wasn't expecting that situation to come up, and sometimes you try to think quickly, okay, what should we do here? Because I don't know where my son is at. How do I? And he can't communicate it to me readily. And what do I tell him to do? I'll tell him take a picture and send it to me, and then I can look at the picture, and you know, it might not cross her mind that taking a picture could be hazardous to his health.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that is, yeah, well, right at the spur of the moment, but yeah, I still think that we should opt to try before we send our babies, especially, them being as vulnerable as they are. Um,
Foreseeing possible situations, possible
mhm.
problems that may arise.
Yeah, give them different scenarios. Yeah, giving them different scenarios. Um, Candy says, out shopping for Easter outfit for Joe. Okay, awesome. Hey, Foxy Roxy, how are you?
Hey, Roxy.
Doing good over
I
here.
see.
Pam says, got Ralph a new kitty. Oh, we
Oh,
finally got our car. He has been so happy and wanting to go everywhere. I
no.
even got him to his doctor appointment. All right.
All
Oh,
right.
nice.
All right. That's what we like to hear. Good news. Good news.
I
Hey,
tell.
Kelly, how are you? Facebook policing us. Facebook should police themselves. That's true. But it's not just Facebook. You got to be careful on Facebook and
YouTube,
TikTok.
TikTok,
You know, they
Instagram. Yep,
they
all those.
you say the wrong words, then they cutting you off.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's I mean the AI generated censorship.
Mm-hmm.
And when
Very sensitive.
AI censorship, it's like you think about in the English language, for example, there are a number of words that can have innocent meanings or that can have sexual meanings, and when they're used that way, they're considered dirty words. But when they're used in the innocent way, they're not. They're considered perfectly clean words, and you use one of those words with this innocent meaning, and the censorship, AI censorship, gets a hold of it and cuts you off.
Oh yeah. I put a excuse me. I put a laughing and clown emoji in under a comment, which was a joke, funny thing, joke,
Mm-hmm.
and got immediately. I mean, it was immediate too. They gave me, it was Facebook gave me a strike. I'm like, what?
What?
Right?
Why?
Because I put a clown in the comments.
Oh
Yeah, and
my
somehow
goodness.
that was considered offensive. Wow. Well, it's like the family that got a cake for their son's graduation party, for either their son or their daughter, I forget which, but it was their child's graduation party anyway, and their son or daughter had graduated cum laude, and so they, magna cum laude, in fact. So they had that on the cake, and so the cake came out. Congratulate the child for graduating magna XXX laude, because it seems like
Uh,
cum is
they're
used in pornography
Oh
for
my goodness.
another meaning. Yeah,
Wow.
and and it censored that.
So, what do you guys think that should happen? I shared my thoughts about more awareness with our public servants and people in the community. What are your thoughts about trainings and what can we do?
Um, I mean, one of the things is the de-escalation. I think in that particular case, the de-escalation is the thing. Your first reaction shouldn't be, the firing squad reaction. to someone who's just because he's got a weapon. Wait a minute, is he coming at me? Is there something between him and me that keeps him from getting to me? Well, then why am I even thinking about doing that? How about trying to talk him, trying to get him calmed down, with words?
And hey, Nita, was it on the east side, west side? Like what neighborhood
East
was it?
side.
Oh, okay. I said, oh, okay.
The Detroit
Yeah,
situation,
okay.
yeah. But the Idaho situation, that was in some small town in Idaho.
Yeah, but that Idaho situation that happens often all over. It's like you have these trigger happy, officers. They don't even think. They just. I think it was someone new. I don't know. I hadn't seen which officer or read about it, but they get excited. They're out on the beat and get trigger happy. Immediately they think it's danger or they're in danger.
But it was a group of cops that all opened fire on him.
Wow. Wow. It's like a chain reaction. AJ, hey AJ. AJ said, more details for 911 dispatcher should have sent an ambulance. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Yeah,
Roxy, we're talking about the young man that got pew-pewed by, the police. Um, uh, he
Yeah.
was on life support, but sadly he passed away.
yeah, the one in Idaho.
Kelly said times are way too sensitive in all the wrong ways. Yes, yes, yeah. Um, Pammy says, I have already made phone calls here to the police sheriff and the firemen. I plan to keep bugging them to do better. Oh, yeah, definitely. 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 And I would suggest if you have neighborhood police officers, if you know your neighborhood, because I know we have, you know, a neighborhood police officer that comes around and he speaks to DeAndre and everything, but get to know them, you know,
Yeah.
talk to them. So they'll know, hey, look, if you see my son, just like with your neighbors,
Mm-hmm.
my neighbors know if you see my son going down the street and I'm not around, something's wrong. Something's wrong. So get in touch with me
Yeah.
immediately.
Yeah.
Um, they didn't even take the time to have, right, exactly. They didn't take the time to have a conversation with him. They just shot. AJ says, hold on, nine, um, 9 shots. Oh, wow. Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's well, not as many fired, but it's almost like what happened some years ago to Amadou Diallo in New York City.
Mhm. Wait a minute. AJ says when I came from Iraq and had a PTSD episode, they sent the paramedics and cops came after the paramedics. Yep, there should be, and that's how it should be. It should be immediately when someone's having an episode. There should be some professionals that are at the scene first, and if they feel that it is needed, then the police come as backup. Yep. They should always send paramedics to certain calls. I agree, AJ, especially like that. I'm reading off of TikTok.
Yeah, I figured that. Yeah,
Yeah, I agree, AJ. Um, Kelly says, I just think that education has to be most important. 911 operators and other services don't know enough in these days with awareness. True. Definitely need more and more training. Spencer says he heard it was 15 shots and 9 made contact. Wow.
Yeah, more like it. Yeah.
That was over, over K.
Yeah.
That was
Like
just too much.
Amadou Diallo, it was 41 shots and 17 made contact.
Very heartbreaking situation. Hey, Cheyenne. This is about the young man who was shot because the neighbor called saying he was drunk. He had autism. Yes, that's what we're talking about. Yes, he had a knife in his hand and stumbling, but not only was he on the other side of the fence, they immediately opened fire. Yep. And that's what we are saying. It was they reacted too quickly without assessing the situation. Reacted.
Yeah. One part of police training has to be, you know, don't be too quick to believe everything you've been told about the situation. That's often part of the problem when they get trigger happy, is they believe everything they've been told about this situation. And it's just like what happened to a guy in Georgia who was rummaging through his own car parked in his own driveway in front of his own house, and some do-gooder saw him, and because he was black and in a mostly white neighborhood, decided he couldn't possibly be the owner of that house or that car, and called the police, reported a car burglary in progress. And some Karen did that, and so police come, and automatically, they're sure what Karen told them is right, and they confronted him. He flinched, and for flinching, they shot him, permanently injuring him. He survived with permanent injuries.
Go
It
ahead.
seems like the problem with Idaho too was they had guns. He had a knife,
Right.
and he was behind a fence. But
What
when do
sense
those
did that
equal? Yeah, when does that
make?
equal? The same risk. He would have to either throw it. He'd have to get close. It's a different type of thing, which is crazy that happened.
Yeah, the thing is, bottom line, even if they believed he was drunk, they still weren't justified in shooting him, because he's on the other side of a chain link fence, and he's not
Right.
making any effort to jump the fence. If you're in the act of jumping the fence, I could understand it, but he wasn't.
Yeah, and I did hear the guy. That's my son. I did hear the guy who made the phone call said he felt bad that he did that, and I'm sure he did. Because he himself, I mean, that's why it's good to get to know your neighbors, because he was a neighbor, but I guess he never had contact with the family, so he didn't know, about the son and his situation.
Yeah.
Had he known, he probably wouldn't have just called the cops immediately like that.
Yeah, he'd probably been observing the family, observing that this is someone whose behavior is erratic, seemed erratic to him, and probably been noticing that for some time. Now that kid's drunk and he's got a knife. I got to call the cops.
Hi, Frankie. I see you over on Instagram. Frankie says, I got diagnosed with autism. Okay. Well, welcome to the live, Frankie. Teresa says you should take Deandra to go see the Minecraft movie. It was good and funny. David will enjoy watching. Yeah, they went with their class to see it.
Oh, nice.
Because I was going to take them, but they did a trip. I might still go because I want to see it actually. Everybody's talking about it. I want to see too. So I might take them again. Yeah. Pammy said they used high power rifles. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's heartbreaking.
Almost
And
sounds
like
like they came there intending to, we're going to take him down.
Yeah, I'm. Uh-oh.
DeAndre?
Ari's up there fussing at him. He done did
Who is?
something.
Oh, Ari.
Uh-huh. He, uh-oh. Uh-oh.
What's he saying? What's DeAndre saying?
When somebody fusses at him, he'll say, "You are mad. You are mad.
What he did.
You are mad." So yeah, I don't know. He must have touched something of hers. Um, Spencer says, however, my 1-year-old daughter at the time was choking. However, the police officer showed up first and handled the situation. So sometimes they are cross trained for situations, which can be good thing. Oh yeah, yeah, they are trained for those types of situations,
Mm-hmm.
but in situations where there is a mental breakdown or someone's having an episode, that's totally different. There should be somebody on call that should get to the scene first and the police right behind them. And that person should be able to assess the situation, um, whether some force is needed or not. Yeah, but yeah, they are all police are trained in choking and what you call CPR
Yeah, and
and
first aid and
everything.
all that. Yeah.
First aid, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it sounds
Yeah.
like that was a SWAT team, and
Right.
so
You
it may
think
be because the dispatcher, based on how the situation
I'm gonna
is
say that
described to
yeah.
the dispatcher, made the call that, hey, we need to send a SWAT team out there, and the SWAT team came out there with the idea in mind: we're dealing with a violent individual who might not need to be quickly neutralized, and I use that term as
Sammy.
and that's where everything went downhill from. But still, bottom line, that chain link fence, he couldn't get at them, so they shouldn't have done what they did.
Exactly.
And I think too the dispatch, the 911 operator, they should be trained with certain questions addressing that. Is
Right.
there a disability that you know of? Is there any mental issues? Those kind of things. And then
And I
what's
agree that could go
Mhm.
out over when they making a call to the police or however they do it. This
Mhm.
person has a
Exactly.
disability, they're having a
Mhm.
mental episode or
Yeah,
may
exactly. Yeah,
may
and
be
you know what would be a good idea too would if we could register, our kids, live at this address. There's a developmental disability, and they have our address. If it comes across dispatch, gets an alert that this is an address like this. That would be a good system to run by.
that's
And
a good idea to start writing to Congress about.
yeah, that is, yeah,
Yeah,
it is
that's a
because
great idea.
yeah, if we could do that, then they would know, and it'd be like an alert on there, on the address. Um, Another thing is with SWAT, if it was SWAT too,
Sammy,
that uh, they usually have those type of people involved in that,
you with me?
as far as the negotiators, the people who talk, talk people out of situations like this.
Yeah.
So you think they would have done more talking than just a police officer who felt threatened.
Yeah,
Mhm. Yep. Our ex queen also said we need to have registries so law enforcement knows we
Hmm.
have an autistic person. Yep,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
Definitely. Many disorders. Yep, you are
I
absolutely
mean,
right.
and yeah, and even then too, if that person would have had it on the house, then was it a neighbor who called?
Was it a
Yeah, it
what?
was, right? It was a neighbor who called, right? For the
Yeah.
Idaho one.
Yep.
Yeah, so I mean also putting signs up, saying something like that. That would have also, maybe he would have been
Mhm.
walking down the street one day and seen, oh, okay, there's a special need here.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So I have a sign on my door that says an adult with autism lives here. He may not respond to certain things, blah blah blah.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Same thing with the cars. Yeah. That's how
yeah.
we have one of those on our car.
yeah,
Uh, you're okay, our ex queen. But yeah, that is a good idea. I may we may have to get a
Petition.
petition going, and I can put one on the website. But that is definitely an excellent idea, and everybody start a petition, and we just because that's a good idea. There definitely needs to be some sort of registry.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's the fact. On the other hand, the Detroit situation, you got the fact that a person wandering into the wrong place. In this case, he was dropped off by the Uber driver. He couldn't have. Uh, there's nothing he could have done to prevent his being in the wrong place. But I think about there have been a lot of news stories of tragedies happening when somebody wandered into the wrong place. I remember some years ago in Cape Cod, there was a woman who went into a bar to make a phone call back before they had cell phones became a common thing. And so she went into the bar to make a phone call, and she got attacked by a whole bunch of guys while other bar patrons watched the whole thing happen, and nobody intervened, and they were yelling, "Go for it!" In fact,
Oh yeah, there's a lot of instances of that. I'm gonna bring that up at my city council. Yep, that's a good idea, AJ.
Mhm.
RX Queen says my daughter is verbal and able to follow instructions, but still, right. Never can be too careful. The
Especially if you're in a
SWAT
high
team,
stress situation.
exactly. The SWAT team may not see signs. There needs to be prior knowledge. Yep. When the call
Yeah.
comes through,
Mhm.
the name automatically, and this
Yeah.
is what's going on.
Like an
Kelly
alert.
says this all makes me so angry. Yes, Kelly, I agree. This makes me angry too. Very much so. Roxy says here in Alabama, starting this month, they are training deputies to be sensory inclusive and certified, and they will be providing free car decals that will alert first responders that there is a person with autism inside the vehicle. Awesome.
Yeah. That's
Yep.
another good idea is if you didn't want to put like the disability or something like that, that, your house has a certain mark, that law enforcement can see, whether it's like, something orange, that like say,
Yeah, that's the indicator.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's an indicator that there is a situation like that here.
Yeah, that's a good idea too.
Yeah. And they would know, look for that immediately, but yeah.
Hi, Brittany. Brittany says, very sad situation.
I agree.
Yes. Hey, guys, I got to get Ralph routine going. Have a great week and see you soon. You too, Pam.
Bye,
You
Pam.
too,
Thank
Pam.
you.
Yeah,
I'm curious how long it takes to realize that a person isn't okay. They didn't even assess the situation. They didn't even give that young man time to even see if there was something wrong. They were just going off of the call,
What they
I'm
were told.
assuming.
yeah.
Right.
That's why I think they were a SWAT team because the high powered rifles too. The fact that they had high powered rifles.
Why would they call
You
the
know,
SWAT
as
team
opposed to
though
service
to
revolvers.
even a
Yeah,
drunken
it,
situation?
we don't know how the neighbor described the situation
Yeah,
to the
that's true.
dispatcher, and that's the bottom line. And the way the situation was described can often that can trigger all kinds of responses, just like what happened to the guy in Georgia. You know, car burglary in progress
Hmm.
when he was rummaging through his
Sad.
own car parked in front of his own house in his own driveway and looking for something.
Hey, Sonia.
Hey, Sonia.
Um, Kelly says, and there isn't any compassion for our young adults with disabilities, right? There definitely needs a lot more of that. People to be a little more compassionate and understanding. No, they didn't write. They just took off with it. Just took off with it. Um, I want to remind everybody that next weekend, Saturday, if you are in the Metro Detroit area, we are having our sweatpants and mimosas event. That's April 19th. If you haven't RSVP, RSVPs will be closed off on Tuesday. So do it now. But I do have 2 gifted seats available. So if someone would like one of those gifted seats or both of them, first come, first serve, please email me at support@autismandus.org and just let me know you'd like to come to the event. This is an adult only event. Sorry, no kids. We're leaving the kids at home. This is for our autism moms, time to get away for a couple of hours, have a light
Yep.
lunch and some mimosas, and make some meaningful connections. We're going to have a few vendors there, and a couple of speakers. And you know, guys, it's all about self care with Autism and Us. We got to take care of ourselves if we want to really take care of our loved ones. We got to be okay for them to be okay. So just a couple hours away from it all, come out and enjoy yourself and make some meaningful connections. But our SBPs will be shut off on Tuesday. Then all vendor spots have been taken. So that's closed off, but we are still looking for sponsors. So if you would like to sponsor the event, the information is on our website under the event tab. Yeah. So that's it. I just wanted to make that announcement. Spencer says, I also think each address should have a database that has a disabled person. Yeah. Yeah. There should be something in place. Something. Hey, Danielle.
Hi,
How
Danielle.
are you? Hi, Christine. She says, why use guns if you thought he had a knife? Right. That's the
Exactly.
question.
That's what I said.
They didn't think he had a gun. They thought it was a knife. Right. Right. They just overdid it. They overdid it. Danielle says hello to our Autism and Us mascot, Sammy.
Well,
he'll be barking in a minute.
well, I
Again.
won't say hello to him. I'll say woof to him.
Woof.
That's the language he can understand.
Brittany says in Pennsylvania, you can call and give address to state disabilities. So all first responders are all aware for future visits. Really?
That's what it is, Jeff. That's
That's
Wow.
right
very
there.
good.
I'm going
Be
to have to
across
look
all the
into that
states.
because, yeah, we need that all over. Yeah, we definitely need that all over. Michelle. Michelle says some of the problem is people do not mind their own business. But maybe if the family had been more open with the neighbors, they would not be looky los. People people just call the cops for
Loose.
everything. But you also have to look at the area too. If someone here was acting this way, multiple police show up. But it is a multi-system failure, starting with the neighbors, the dispatch, and the police. Yes, definitely. Definitely. Spencer says that's an idea. The yard the yard gets a sign. Hey Tanya, I need to check with my city. They have autism street signs too.
That's good.
And, I would have to go down because I seen in our neighborhood there is a deaf child, and they do have between like in the block in which he lives, they have the caution deaf child in area. They have the sign up.
Oh,
So
yeah.
yeah,
That's
it's
kind of
definitely something to look into, you know.
Yeah.
that's kind of a universal thing. Yeah. That, and you appreciate it as a driver too. That you know that there's a child here that, if I beat my horn, he ain't going to hear it.
Or even
Right.
driving down the street and he may not hear that car in the
He ain't going
street.
to
Right.
hear
You
the
don't know
car
how
approach
old he is or
either.
anything. Yeah. Yeah,
And if I
exactly.
beep the horn at him, that ain't going to work. He ain't going to hear it. So,
Hmm.
I need to drive slowly and cautiously.
And cautious, very cautious.
Yep.
I need to check with my city. They have autism street signs too. Okay. Yeah, I think that's something if everybody's wondering, you start with your, city council. You'll probably have to put in, the normal petition and go in front of the council as to why you want the sign there. But it's definitely a good idea to have some sort of warning.
Hmm.
But I love the database. When they call in, they instantly know. I love that idea.
Yeah.
Roxy says, my biggest fear is something happening at my house and police officers come to my door. So on the front glass door, I have stickers at eye level and where you reach for the handle saying that a person with autism lives here and might not understand or respond to certain situations. It's bright red too. Yep, that's
Yeah.
exactly what my sign says on the door. I have a deeper concern because I have a black son. So, that's scary. That's scary in itself if you have the police come into your house and they don't ask questions and they just react. So, not only he has two things against him, his autism and being black here, so it's scary all the way around.
Yeah.
Um Spencer says my car windows have a sticker that says, in case of emergency, a child with autism is in this vehicle. He may not respond to commands and might fight or resist help. Okay, that's a good thing.
And
Do you have the decals, Linda,
oh yeah, yeah, we do.
on your car?
And then
I
we have
need
it
to
on her
get one.
seatbelt. We have a seatbelt sleeve thing that goes on there that
Okay.
states that again. So like if they had to get her out of the car, they would
Hello.
know when they see that.
Okay.
Hey, I sent you a picture, Nita,
Uh,
and that I remembered this. I think someone posted it in the group a while back, but there's a picture in your messenger.
right now?
Yeah, I just now sent it.
Okay, let me see. Let me see. Yeah, but I really, really love the database. Uh-oh. Now it's asking me. Oh, why? I forgot because I'm online. Now it's asking me for a pen. Let's see. Linda. That won't come up.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
the
and
thing. And of course, the racial thing, the fact that
Oh
you
yeah.
know,
Yeah. I
even
remember.
someone who has no disability, like Amadou Diallo, what happened to him some years back in New York? He was coming home from work, um, unaware that there had been, a sexual assault in his neighborhood, and police were investigating. Anyway, police uh, confronted him, and not expecting to be confronted by police, he flinched, and deciding he must have a gun, they executed him firing squad style. Mistaking his flinching for going for a gun, they executed him firing squad style.
Yeah. Hi,
Oh
Fanny
yeah,
and Mia. How
that's
are
a good
you?
one. Yeah,
Autistic man lives here. Cops, no excuses. They did what they had to do because it's
exactly.
scary. It's
Mm-hmm.
scary.
Yep.
Roxy says, Linda girl, I mark everything. I have my autism car tag, the stickers on my car, and on my front door. Some people
Yeah.
say, oh, that's embarrassing your
No,
child.
it's not.
No. I
Mm-mm.
see it as not to embarrass my child, but to make sure their safety is first. And yep, you definitely have to make sure their safety is first because
Yep.
cruel world. Thank you guys for the love, Tanya, Danielle. Thank you. Um, Roxy says, I know it's ugly comparison, but the way they have a sex offender registry, they should also have autism mental health registry too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that should be like we were talking about, that registry should be connected as soon as someone makes a call to that
For the
address about
address.
that address.
Yeah, it should have like a flag on it, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, I didn't know that here in Pennsylvania. Oh, you're in Pennsylvania too. Yeah, check that out, Kelly, because that is, I wish we had it here. I
Hmm.
haven't heard of any such thing, but I'd have to look into it.
Okay. Hey, Nita. So
Uh,
not to change the subject, but so I was talking about Emily and her habits were like OCD. Do you remember that? It was like maybe 2 weeks ago or something.
what's that? Who was it?
Emily and
Yep.
her OCD
OCD. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
tendencies. So she was diagnosed with OCD and she was given a medication. She was put on Zoloft,
Okay.
and I had read a lot about it before that and knew that that was something that could help um, from day one. And normally it takes three to 6 weeks to really balance out on this type of medication. But they said some people it will hit immediately,
Sammy.
and we've seen improvements from the first day. Like she's been
First.
like the yeah, like the edge has been taken off. Like she's not as stressed or snappy. She's
Okay.
she seems more oh, it's good for social anxiety too. She seems
Okay.
more social. And her face, like sometimes she would have that, like a
Sammy.
lot of autistic people have this straight face. She would have more of a natural face where she's smiling more and things like that. Um, and she ate two tacos last night. Like usually she would just eat the meat and the cheese out of it. She actually ate the taco shell. She ate it like a taco. So, we noticed like some good changes with her. Um, and yesterday she went to go put this stuff away in the bathroom, and she's usually very particular with it. It's one of her OCD things. And I put it away in front of her, and then she went to reach for it. And I said, Emily, it's okay. It can stay like that. I said, now I told her to go get something. I forgot what she was supposed to do next. And she left it and she went and did it. Normally she would have to stay in there and do her whole ritual type of thing. But she didn't. She was able to walk away from it.
That's
Okay.
very
So
good.
yeah,
Yeah.
so for her, I'm seeing, and of course there were bad things, bad side effects that I was supposed to watch for. I haven't seen any of them. So not to say, everyone's gonna have success, but yeah, yeah,
And Danielle, yeah, I've seen that in the big red box, but you know what? I honestly I don't think they put that in the system. I mean, uh, uh when you call, because we've been to things where they give them the little ID cards and everything. Now, if you do the fingerprints, yeah, that's maybe a good idea. I know some parents don't like to get their children fingerprinted, um, but the big red box, yeah, you guys can go on, and it's free. It's free. What is that? National Autism. Anybody remember? What's the name with the big red box? You remember? Danielle, what's the name of the organization that gives the big red box? It's free. You just go on and fill in your information and they'll send you, they have the stop signs. They even have the door
the
window
National
alarms in the box.
National Autism Association.
Yeah, there you go. NAA. Yep, that's it. So make sure you guys get your big red box. Um, Kelly says we have signs for autistic children in our neighborhood. Oh, really? Good. That's good. Yeah, and that's definitely an idea. Roxy says all involved in that awful situation need to go through extensive hours of training on how to properly come to these situations with disabled people. Yeah, I definitely think that should be part of their training they have to pass before they even hit the streets. You know, who's is that you?
No, I thought it was you.
That you, Mr. Charles? Or is
Yeah,
that
yeah, oh yeah,
oh
yeah, this is
I'm like,
background. Yeah,
is that me? Okay, Michelle says, but honestly, most people ignore the signs. How many people run the stop signs on the buses? Yeah, true. There has to be a better way, and not everyone has yard or a car. A database is a good thing, definitely, definitely. Kelly says, what could be done if your child is in a public transportation situation? Yeah, then that would be a case where um, the the bus driver, but I don't know how they would know. Would it be a bus card that lets them know? I don't know how that would.
Meaning, how do they identify them? As a
Yeah, or if something happens on the bus, is that what you're saying, Kelly?
because that's also a thing where bracelets and a, a lanyard, things like that come in handy to explain the
yeah,
situation. Like if they end up lost, something on them should identify them as autistic if they can't identify themselves like that.
Hmm.
And we have that. We have the lanyard. We make sure Emily has it if we go on trips and things like that, or if we're just going out because we have no idea. If it's three of us, what if something happened to me and Steve, or what if she wandered off?
Sammy,
And then she has the bracelet also,
she
but
has
a
what?
school bus, a bracelet also.
Bracelet. Okay.
Hmm.
Yes, school bus is different because well,
It's
if they're on a special bus, then they
exactly, yeah,
already know. They
yeah,
already know the
exactly.
situation.
And
But
then
on
some
the
places only have it for special needs, but at
right,
least those places. But yeah, I was going to say that same thing. And then comes public transportation if it's not the disabled transportation.
um, Teresa says, in front of my house, I have a handicap sign, a blue curb painted because I have a special need child, a sign for a bus pickup, drop off only. Nobody is allowed to park in front of my house at all. Okay, yeah, because that's kind of different though. That's the parking situation.
They'd have to take note of that. And in
Yeah.
a
yeah,
situation, yeah, that may not even be, something they
Mm.
see.
Danielle says that garage door is exactly what I thought of when I joined the conversation. That mom
Yeah.
was desperate to protect her son
Yeah.
because they
Yep.
kept coming out to her house. Wow.
Yep.
yeah,
Wow, that's sad. That
I
yeah.
know.
Well, she made sure.
No, I was gonna say no excuse not seeing that one.
She made sure.
Hmm.
Michelle says too many people are too quick to jump to conclusions. The Black community has been dealing with this for far too long. The mental health community also deals with this too. It is truly sad that people do not see people as people, not as their skin color or their mental issues. Exactly. 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 It's sad all the way around. And like I said, I get scared because we have those two things against us. My son is a black man now and
Hmm.
he has autism. So
And
those things,
I feel like too, it's more on the male side too.
yeah, yeah.
Him being a boy and I mean, eventually growing up and being a man, makes a
Mhm,
difference than a woman. It shouldn't, but it does.
yeah.
mhm.
That's a
Oh,
bunch of
sure.
great things right there. Yeah.
Well, a man is more likely to be seen as a threat
Hmm.
anyway than a woman.
Yeah.
You know, and
Right.
Yeah.
but yeah, but again, you get cases like that Karen in Georgia. It's not just the police; shows it's the ordinary citizen is often the problem because
Yeah.
some Karen saw him rummaging through his own car, his own driveway, and called in an auto burglary in progress.
And you know what's so bad about that one is in what situation? is
Sammy.
an auto burglary, for shooting, unless they thought he was pulling a weapon, but
Well, what
I
happened
mean,
was
to be
when they
fair.
Sammy.
confronted him, he was surprised and he flinched because he was surprised. And when he flinched, they thought he was going. And, it's in the dark, of course. It was at night,
Yeah.
and when he flinched, they thought he was going for a gun, and they shot him.
Wow.
He survived, but with an injury that's probably permanent.
Kelly says, well, this group are shakers and movers. We can get changes started. Yes. we have to we have to work together to do something. Roxy says, I understand, Nita, not because Raymond is black, but because we are Hispanic. And with all these political things going on against the Hispanics now, it's similar. Very scary. Yes, Roxy. Very, very scary. Very.
Yeah, and of course, the victim in the Idaho incident was Hispanic.
Also, I think Camille Proctor has something in the color of autism packet as well. It's been a long time, but I'll double check. Yes, yes, and please share with us if you find out. Um, okay, you guys, it's about that time. I'm gonna put the link in the chat if you would like to come on up for some final words. You are welcome if you have anything to share. If you have an event coming up, you can share that. If you like to just share something inspirational, or if you just want to say hi, you are more than welcome. I'd also like to mention, how do I stop sharing this? Oh, I gotta kick the picture out. Okay. I also like to say we are doing our um, picture campaign, Beautiful Faces of Autism picture campaign. There are instructions that pinned on the top of our main page and pinned at the top in our group on how you can send it. We do this every year. This is also a fundraiser for Autism and Us. I'd like to thank everybody who made a donation. It will definitely go towards our event next year, our sweatpants and mimosas 3. We appreciate you, but if you'd like to participate, it's absolutely free. You do not have to donate. So just follow the instructions and send your picture to the email that's on the instructions, and the picture will be posted. And we're doing this just for the month of April. I am thankful that I haven't got a crop because last year was terrible. Told you we got over 500 and we went into May, but now they're coming in, you know, steady and calmly. People running the school bus stop sign really frost my cookies. Uh oh.
Yeah.
She said,
Oh,
really
yeah.
frost my
Uh,
cookies.
people do a lot worse than just running school bus stop signs. One time recently, I was heading north on a street near where I live, and I stopped because the school bus stopped with its lights flashing and stop sign deployed. So I stopped as it was in the oncoming traffic. The school bus was. Well, this guy behind me goes around me on the right shoulder and zips on past that school bus with its stop sign deployed and its lights flashing. Doesn't matter to him. Yeah,
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 it
that's brazen.
yeah, we still have people with the school buses that even on the streets, you'll see a school bus that stop. You see the stop sign out, but the cars will still go around the bus.
Hmm.
You're not supposed to do that.
And,
Don't you
and
know?
and that's why the stop sign is on the side, of
Right,
the bus. So when you're going around it, you're definitely going to see it. But they're not saying stop because the bus is stopped in front of you. They're saying stop because you don't go around that bus because you don't know who's coming out from
right.
in
You
front
don't
of
know
the
if that
bus.
kid has to go across the street or what.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Danielle says, have a great week, everyone. Do something nice for yourself. Love on yourself because you are deserving of the best. Yes, thank you for that. Uh-oh.
Okay, everybody have a great 2 weeks because, as I understand it, we won't be having this next week because of Easter, right?
Yeah.
And the thing, yeah.
Yep. And the event. So yeah. So we will see you guys week after next. And Danielle, I will see you on Saturday. I carry a copy of my guardianship order around too. I have mine ready to pull up on the phone, Danielle. You definitely have to have that. I need to get the hard copy and keep on me also just in case.
And the other thing though is I have that Focus Live on Thursday the 24th.
Yep. Send me an inbox, Mr. Charles, so I can make sure I got that
All right,
embedded.
all right, I'll do that. Okay, I'll
So
inbox.
make sure you guys, I'm gonna put a event for it. Mr. Charles will be doing a Focus Live April 24th. So for Autism Awareness Month, he's gonna share some of his life with us. So make sure you join us then. I am gonna put an event as a reminder of that too. Michelle says, I am more dangerous than some men around here. Mess with my littles, you are gonna see a Tasmanian devil from hell. Uh-oh. I like I like that. Roxy says, yes, that's why I'm scared of teaching Raymond to drive because of how others are on the road and what would happen if he ever got pulled over. Yep, scary. Um, Kelly says, we are Hispanic as well. My daughter and grandson look more Hispanic than the rest of us. I worry about my grandson as he grows up. Yes, definitely some scary times. Teresa says, next week I will talk about what I talked about last Friday to you. Okay. Week after next, Teresa, because it is the holiday. Kelly says, happy Easter. Same to you, Kelly, and everyone who celebrates the Easter holiday. Um, may you have a blessed one. And on that note, you guys, any final thoughts, Linda?
Everybody enjoyed the next 2 weeks. Have a
Mr.
good two
Charles?
weeks.
Oh,
Yeah,
Mr.
and
Charles?
and everybody have a good 2 weeks, and maybe I'll see. Hopefully, I'll see some of y'all on Thursday the 24th.
Yeah. Make sure you send me that inbox. And if
I will.
anybody else would like to do um, a live for Autism Awareness Month this month, just contact me, let me know, and we could put you on a schedule. You could talk about anything. You could share your life with your child or your loved one on the autism spectrum. You can share some toilet training tips. You can share some crafts you do. You can share some life skills if you want. You could talk about anything autism. If you have a business that's related to autism, you could talk about that. Just send me an inbox and let me know. Um, Roxy says, frost your cookies. Those are some fighting words right there. Yeah, I like that. and Kelly, thumbs up to Mr. Charles. Yep, so be there or be square. I appreciate each and every one of you that has chimed in this evening. And until next time, week after next, we'll be here same time, same place. Um, love you all and good night. Thank you. Great conversation
Good night,
tonight.
everyone.
Good
Good
night.
night, everyone.
Bye bye.